Okay, so we're gonna get started with Freewater, chapter 1 through 7. Yeah. So, what was the name of the system that made these people suffer so much, everybody? It was the slavery. What time period was it? Before the Civil War. What century was it, everybody? It was the 19th century, mid 1800s, right? So at that time, the United States was divided into two parts, the northern part and the southern part, and then they had differences in their industry. So the northern part, it was mostly based on manufacturing, manufacturing goods at factories. What about the southern part? What was their major industry? Agriculture. That's why they needed a lot of labor, manual laborers, and they made a wrong choice by kidnapping African people from African continent and using them as slaves. This is the time period that we are talking about. And then why did Ada, Homer, why did they want to escape to the north, everybody? Because yeah, northern parts are the free states, which means that slavery is strictly banned. So their only hope was going to the north and find freedom, right? So at that time, the slaves had to work under the scorching sun for many hours with the backbreaking labor. They would pick cotton and they would take care of tobacco, and even if they were hurt or injured, they could not be properly taken care of, and if they ever tried to run, they would be taken back because the masters would chase them with dogs, just like Mr. Crumb is doing. And when they're taken back to the plantation, they're going to be whipped very harshly in front of everybody. So that was the harsh treatment and cruel treatments that these slaves were getting at this time period. Yeah, okay. And then, who is Desmond, everybody? Altogether.
Two Shoes.
Two Shoes son. What is the name of Two Shoes' wife? Her name was Sally, right? What happened to Sally after Desmond was gone?
She lost
Yeah, I know. She lost the sparkles in her eyes. She used to be this cheerful and bright woman, but all the flames in her eyes were completely extinguished when Desmond was gone. Because what happened to Desmond, everybody? He was sold to another slave master. He was separated from his family, and his parents didn't even hear any warning and didn't even have a chance to say goodbye. That was heartbreaking for both the parents. That's why Sally just like lost motivation to live once and for all. So while I was reading this part, I had a teary reaction to that. The tears didn't actually roll down my cheeks, but then my eyes became a little red. Is there anybody who had a similar reaction to that? Oh, nobody? Okay. I guess this classroom is full of tea type personalities. Yeah. Anyways, I had that kind of reaction because I imagined like a family member being separated from me without even hearing the warning and without even getting the chance to say goodbye. It was heartbreaking, and I would feel devastated, just like Sally and Two Shoes. Also, Two Shoes asked Mr. Crumb, what did Two Shoes ask Mr. Crumb, everybody?
Maybe we could get this.
Yeah, hey Master, could we actually get Desmond back when farming goes well? And what was his reaction to that?
Get back to work.
Get back to work.
Don't say this now.
Don't say that. This is not a good time to talking about this. And then he so casually, brush it up as if he were talking about a cat or a dog or like an object. It was his son. How can he react like that? So I think this part shows us how inhumane this system was. So slavery not only forced people to work, not only destroyed people's bodies, but it also completely crushed people's spirits as well. Yeah. Separated the families and then did not respect them as human beings. If those slave masters even had considered the slaves as the same people with same feelings, they would not have done such a thing, but they considered the slaves as livestock, their personal property, their possession. That's why they were able to do such an inhumane thing. Yeah, so this is one of the darkest periods, moments in the U.S. history. That's what the U.S. feels most regretful about, and this shouldn't be repeated ever again. Yeah. Okay, and that's why authors like these, they're writing books and novels to remind the readers of how precious it is to keep the humanity not only inside us but for everybody else. Okay, so these were some of the thoughts that I had, and then let's practice for 45 seconds all together. And we're gonna start from Eunice today. Yeah. We're gonna do a practice run all together. So cover your ears, everybody, and then practice all together. Ready, set, start. So this time period in the U.S. was the 19th century. At that time, the U.S. was divided into two, the northern part and then the southern part. So at that time, uh, the main industry of the north was manufacturing, so they didn't need many laborers. But the southern part, it was mostly based on agriculture. That's why they needed a lot of manual laborers, and they decided to kidnap them from Africa. That was a wrong choice, and that was an immoral choice. So these people, their only hope was to escape to the north because the northern parts were the free states where slavery was banned. And then the most inhumane aspect of slavery is well revealed through the incident of Desmond and Two Shoes. Okay, so let's hear from Eunice and other people. Silently practice with your ears covered. Okay, ready, set, start.
I think Freewater is set in the 19th century because if it was 18th century, Homer shouldn't be able to speak English because in 18th century there was no slaves who were actually living in America, and
Uh-huh.
they were usually kidnapped from Africa.
Uh-huh.
And because Homer has his mother on top, I think Homer is basically in the late 19th century.
Uh-huh.
And I think slavery is avoiding human dignity because of two reasons. First one is because they're treating human as product.
Mm-hmm.
Human is the same human,
Mm-hmm.
even though their colors are different.
Yes.
And second one is that they are not fault, and they are just born like slaves.
Oh yeah, humans, they're all the same humans despite regardless of our skin color and then our language and our ethnicity or our religion. We humans are the all same people. Very good, Eunice. Thank you for your opinion. Move on to Alice. Alice, other people, feel free to practice or do your homework. Ready, set, start.
Since the late 19th century, slavery was affected to many people in the South U.S. And also in this novel, the characters trying to escape to the north because the north is there are free states and also the slavery is prohibited there.
Yes.
So they want to escape from the slavery, not actually their real home. And also, uh, slavery completely disregards its human dignity because they treated human, even though human have same civil rights after they were born, and also the poorest has to satisfy others because they no money to pay for them.
Oh yeah. So slavery, this system goes directly against the founding principles of this country when it declared its independence from the Britain. At the Declaration of Independence, it declared that all humans are created equal. I guess in the minds of the Americans back then, humans were only white males. So it went directly against the Declaration of Independence. It took away the human dignity once and for all. Very good, Alice. Let's move on to Jay. Okay, Jay, talk. Everybody do your stuff. Ready, set, start.
By knowing that slavery rolled over the south area of America,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that the period was mid of 1800s because
Yes.
by then it was before the Civil War or
Yes.
when Lincoln was president. So I
Yes.
thought that was why slavery was in the South, and
Yes.
I felt bad for Desmond and Desmond's family because they weren't even called before they were sold, and they the bad people like Mr. Crumb sold people like items.
Yeah, I know. So it was right before the Civil War because after the Civil War was over, Lincoln declared a proclamation of emancipation and then freed all the slaves. So the fact that the slavery is still undergoing, we can assume that it's before the Civil War. Thank you very much, Jay. That was wonderful. Let's move on to Sumin. Okay. Yeah. Huh? What was I don't know. I have no idea whose wedding it is just yet. Okay. Okay. So Sumi talk, yeah, and another people study. Ready, set, start.
Like definitely many slaves were sold by others, which definitely disobeys human dignity.
Yes.
Like human have the freedom to not be used to other people
Yeah.
and treated as humans,
Mhm.
but slavery definitely disobeys all of these conditions. It is a tragic history because even if some of them were humans, they couldn't be treated as humans.
Oh yeah. So when we are regarding the people as tools, that we are disregarding their human dignity once and for all. So this is the most tragic history. The most tragic human history. Okay, thank you, Sylvie. That was wonderful. Move on to Daniel. Okay, Daniel talk. Ready, set, start.
I think this novel is set in period when slavery is accepted.
Uh-huh.
People treated slave people like non-living people,
Mm-hmm.
and
They were treated like animals.
they were treated like animals and treated like very bad.
Uh-huh.
And they made black people or any people has no more hope.
Mm-hmm.
Slavery completely disregards dignity
Uh-huh.
because people felt people
Mm-hmm.
people sell on other people free and make people kill oneself. This is very tragic history because nowadays slavery is bad.
Oh yeah, so there was like a slave market where the slaves there will be shipped from Africa and they're going to be picked by those buyers and then trading and then selling and buying people just like animals. That was very wrong, morally wrong. Thank you, Daniel. Let's move on to Lynn. So Lynn talk, yeah. Ready, set, start.
I think this story is set during the time of slavery in the United States, specifically in the 19th century, because in the
Oh,
19th
we're not supposed to look at the paper when we are talking. Okay, okay. Can we do that? Okay, ready, set, start.
I think this novel is placed on 19th century, especially in southern United States, because in the southern United States, the slavery was legal, and people was allowed to sell them. And I think the two characters wanted to escape to North because the North was banned the slavery, and they wanted to find back their freedom.
Oh yeah, so the only hope for the slaves at the time was going north, despite the dangers and despite the risks that are lurking along the way. Because rather than being treated like animals, like risking the difficult journey was better for these people. Yeah, so that's why Ada and Homer took the choice. Thank you. That was wonderful then. Now we're gonna move on to Noella. Okay, Noella talk and other people do your homework. Yeah, ready, set, start.
In the 19th century,
Yes.
when the North and South America executed slavery,
Uh-huh.
and the slaves were people and work on the severe environment and treat really bad. So I think many, I think almost of the slave wanted to escape from South America and go to North America, where the slavery was not executed. And
Oh yeah, so slavery was very active in the South. So most of the black people, they were ill-treated, they were whipped, and then they were mistreated, and sometimes they were starved. So their only hope was getting to the North and get the freedom. Okay, thank you, Noella. We're gonna move on to Ella. Ella, ready, set, start.
American slavery and enslaved people have no right and have to work. And in this book, the snow was sold and the mother was also. And from this we can see that families were apart from the slavery. And slavery was cruel and there was big hand.
Oh yeah. So slavery goes directly against the idea of human rights. The human rights are all written in the constitutions of any modern country, and according to each country's constitution, we humans we have the human rights such as the rights to seek happiness, and then the rights to work, and then get the benefits out of our own labor, and then the rights to live at the place they want. But these people were completely denied all the human rights. Okay, thank you, Ella. Let's move on to Minjie. Okay, ready, set, start.
In this book, the characters are trying to escape to the north and looking for the novel. I think it is before the Civil War.
Yeah.
Before the Civil War, there was the slavery,
Mm-hmm.
and there was just the South, but the North was the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So many slaves escaped to the North to get the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And the next question, the two shoes and his wife had their son was sold to another plantation, and their life was so sad.
Yeah.
Slavery.
Yeah. So Two Shoes and Sally, after learning that their son has been sold away, they were devastated. And then President Lincoln led the war to the Northern victory. Thank God that Lincoln's side won. But if the other side had won, then there might be, unequal treatments that might be continuing up to this day. Okay. Thank you, Minjie.